Very good afternoon to all. Today with us, we have Sampada Saxena, and she is currently working as RA at Stanford University, and she has done her undergrad from Jesus and Mary College and completed her post-graduation from Delhi School of Economics. So going by all the academic profile of hers, she's like among some of the top economists in our country. We can easily say that, and especially with the tag of Stanford University, it adds even more value to your CV, to your resume, especially for the students who are looking at you at this stage. Okay, welcome, Sampada.
Thank you.
Okay, Sampada, could you just give us a small brief in your own words? How would you describe your profile, starting right from when you wanted to be an economist, maybe in your 11th or 12th, when exactly the idea came into your mind?
Yeah. So I would say, seeing the current scenario, we as students think that, by the time we are in our 10th grade, we have to have it all figured out, that, I have to take this stream and this is what I really want to do. That was not the case with me. I was sure I had to take science because I really enjoyed the subject, and not because of the mainstream thing that, just take science and go ahead with it, which used to exist. I think times are changing. At that point of time, I feel, given the CBSE curriculum at my point of time, economics is not really given much of an importance in 9th and 10th grade. It was very, very primitive. But I was kind of comfortable with the subject. So I decided to, just take it up along with my science courses. And still, as being a conservative student, I thought, let me have engineering as my backup option. So for the next 2 years, engineering remained a plan B for me. But then by the time I reached my 12th grade and really studied the economics courses, I realized that, there was a sense of comfort and genuine liking towards the subject. So that's when I decided that, let me pursue my undergraduate studies here. Then by the time, I think, second year of my undergrad was covered, I realized that, the subject is very logical with a mix of both quantitative and qualitative aspects. So that made me think that, I have to go further in this field, and didn't really switch my field at that point. Like a lot of students do end up taking MBA or some other field at that point. So then I got into my master's course, and I would say I was pretty satisfied with that too. Then the research job that I've been doing, it has, reaffirmed that, I'm just going in the right direction because of the satisfaction I feel and the genuine interest that I have developed over the time. And hopefully I'll pursue a PhD as well in the coming years. So that's the plan.
Amazing, amazing, amazing the way you have formulated the entire thing till now. And honestly speaking, the way you mentioned coming like interest and coming even from science background kind of scenario, it will motivate students, especially who are now wanting to shift their careers to economics,
Yes.
be it at bachelor's level or be it at master's level. So definitely, and it makes us even more proud that you are looking forward to doing your PhD as well. And I am definitely looking to see your profile maybe in a couple of years with another one of the best institution in your city, PhD being done from. Great.
Yeah.
Was there any point, any scenario which made you choose economics? Like you mentioned it, right? It was a combination of certain skill sets, but was there anything like, it can be a news, it can be a scenario, or it can be someone, a role model kind of thing, or was it just like you mentioned about the combination of subject which perfectly suited you?
I would say, like, I think you mean to ask like a watershed movement, right? Like that moment where I really decide. So I would say the way I've grown up. So the initial few years of my life, I was placed in very remote areas in the state of Haryana because of my dad's nature of job. So that's when I looked at the development process in those remote areas. And then I shifted to Delhi when I was in my 4th standard. So I could see the stark differences. It always intrigued me. And moreover, my family has also been from my mother's side in the education sector. So I think a part of it motivated me from there because development, education, all of that went hand in hand. And then when I realized that, it's something that also has math, that has logic, because I was more of a scientific person at that time. So I think it all added up to, me deciding on this particular field, because it is technical, it is qualitative. You have to use your mind in both the ways. So that's how it evolved.
Great, great. Like, how are you in your undergrad? So, like a proper studious person or a student or someone like at Delhi University, it's a kind of a mix of both. How we
Yeah.
defined you, right? It's not either, it's a rare case scenario that a student is completely studious and kind of not involving themselves in fest and extracurriculars, or you won't even find someone completely just ignoring towards their studies as well. So there's always a mix of students we usually find in DU, which is the best part about Delhi University. So
True.
what type of student you were exactly?
Honestly speaking, like throughout my academic line, I have been a very studious student and would technically, qualify as being a nerd. But at the same time, it's not been like I've not been involved in extracurricular activities, because I'm a lot into baking and painting and all of it. So during my undergraduate years, I remember that I used to attend all my lectures. Most of them, like obviously a few of them do get missed here and there, and that happens with everyone. But apart from that, I really looked forward to those lectures. I just found them very exciting. And at the back of my mind, I had that thing that, which I think most of the professors tell you too, and it's quite annoying for us as students, that, someday you have to study it. So it's better you do it now. And I sort of, resonated with that idea that it always works out that way. So I used to attend a lot of lectures. But at the same time, I was involved in a lot of societies. I was into photography as well. I was into writing. And I also got ample time to, pursue my hobbies even after college. So that remained fine. I had a fine balance between studies and even enjoying life with my friends and in my with my family, and could even get decent hours of sleep. So I think it all worked out well. And the reason being that after the pressure that you are going through during your 11th and 12th, college life is something extremely new to you. So there's a sense of freedom and sense of space that you can, utilize the time according to your needs. So with that, I felt that the course is not too intensive, and it gave me a lot of time to, be good at studies, or, to attend the classes. And at the same time, have that balance with other aspects of life. And I think that's how it should be, rather than, just going to the extremes. Finding that balance is very important.
Great. That was very honest of you and perfectly highlighted the opportunities being provided at DU with a perfect balance of, even in terms of high quality curriculum at economics level, and also not pushing students to kind of cover the entire thing, be it in one semester, rather than like dividing into a proper semester, right? So perfect, perfect. So like the important question, like everyone would be interested in this particular interview, like how, tell us about your journey to Stanford University, how you made it, or what anyone, other students who are looking to not only apply some of the top institute, but who look forward to going outside and pursue economics, be it for their education, and especially in your case for RA.
Yeah. So I would say it has not been a very conventional journey for me. And sometimes things just work out your way. So going back to 2020, the pandemic time, I had to really work with another organization. And I got an internship over there. But my work was all a field project. And we all know how the pandemic turned out for all of us. Everything was just in a standstill. So I certainly could not take that internship up. So at that time, I was just looking around for a lot of work if I could, find something better. And Stanford was not even my original plan. I started working with another organization which was more into sustainability. And they were collaborating with University of Oklahoma. They have a systems realization laboratory. So I interned with them as well while I was working with Stanford. So they were like just two internships side by side. So while I work at the SRL at the University of Oklahoma, I got a chance to interact with a lot of professors over there, because they had a team with professors from various universities. So they just saw my work and felt that, my economics is strong, and they were a group of engineers. So I was just not working in my field. I was working with engineers and try to use my economic point of view in their model. So it just started with me connecting with the professor at Stanford, and he just looked through my entire profile, decided to interview me, and that's how things just started working. So initially it was just like a 3-month project for me, and I just started working, and it was great. I mean, I have worked with various institutions within India during my post-graduation, and places like NITI, Aayog, and Invest India. And even though like the experience there was also really great, but there was a difference between what you do in India and what you do abroad. So the level of exposure I got there was quite different, and it just pushed me more and more. After my 3 months, I had my final presentation, and my professor and me, we just got talking, and we realized that why not take the project further. So that's how I continued, and then they turned my internship into a proper research role. And since then, I have been just working all along with them. But I think for the students out there, I mean, my example is more of a thing of just, things working out my way. And sometimes the stars, sometimes the universe working out. But certainly for the students out there, and that's what I've guided a lot of my juniors regarding the same. So if it is a research role that a student is looking for, the good idea would be to firstly go to the university website and see all the departments that they have, and the areas that you really like, be it from your profile at the undergrad level, because most of the research roles are being offered when you are a master's student, because at the undergrad level, even you have a very limited knowledge. So once you've built that profile over your 3 years of undergrad, you do realize certain areas that you like. So for me, it was more of the development area, and it was also environmental economics that I really liked. So the 3 years of my undergrad, I worked with NITI, Aayog, and Invest India. That was also a lot into the sustainability areas and economics. So I just started looking for universities that had good environmental economics courses, or say development courses. Go to their course page, look at professors who are teaching over there, read about them. And once you do that, you can just write mails to them, just writing how you like certain areas, or you would want to work with them, and ask them for opportunities. And trust me, they're very open about it. Most of them do reply. Over time, yeah, it does take an effort. Like maybe you'll send mails to 50 people and you might just get one reply, right? But nevertheless, it's worth it to make that effort. And a few of my juniors from Delhi School of Economics itself, so I guided them to, just write mails to professors, pester them, and everything like that. And a few of them did end up getting these research roles. So the idea is to just explore a lot and write to the professors. That's how you approach them. Even within India, I think the scope has been increasing, because a lot of IITs and IIMs are now having their strong economics departments. So you can write to professors over there. The alumni network also plays a very great role, because if you have a student who's, say, pursuing a PhD, they also require students from the master's or the undergrad level to assist them in their research. So that's another way to get into the research arena at the same time. And rest, I would say LinkedIn also plays a role at some point, but I would not suggest that, because a lot of time it does not work out. But mostly just exploring, writing the mails, and going through the university website. That's a very important one.
Right. So like you mentioned, it all like by chance or by luck, but I would rather say it's completely how persistent you were in terms of your effort, in terms of your domain, wherein you wanted to work, which started like your interest over there. And lastly, of course, the networking, which is very important. No doubt, like you mentioned, LinkedIn do help you, but at the end of the day, you have to connect with them officially.
Yes.
What we have even also experienced, that the faculties outside India, they would definitely, I would say they would reply you, but it has to be through a proper channel as well.
Yes.
And like you, in the end, you mentioned about the research assistant role. Honestly speaking, there are many, especially the IIMs, are now working for some of the ministries in government of India. for different projects, and over there they do need research assistant. Okay, so the profile is increasing, the demand is huge, and yeah, and if not abroad, at least in India, at least you can begin with over here, and then subsequently you can move on and approach the faculties abroad as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So tell us something about your work. Like, what is exactly is it to be a research assistant at Stanford? About your work?
Yeah, so currently I'm working on child labor issues in India. So it's more of working with the data, but also a lot of things attached to it. And I would just tell in a nutshell what it really is for a research assistant to work. So starting with data collection or data cleaning, because you have a lot of data, but you can't use it in its raw form. So you have to convert that data. So the problem that I faced was that I was working with the census data, and my database has been since 1861. No, sorry, 1961. Sorry. So till 2001, the entire data was only available in the printed form, and you did not have those Excel sheets available. So for the initial 1 month, I really had to, get the data in a digital format, even though I was provided with the support from Stanford. But nevertheless, it was just like a manual work. But that's what discourages a lot of students out there. They feel that, it's just data entry at the beginning part. But then still, it taught me a lot, because to see what categories are there, why is it written like this? So it was fine. I mean, you just have to find a positive side to it. Following that, I had to use a few of the programming languages to perform the data analysis. So I feel at the master's level also, apart from data, we are not exposed to other programming languages which are in huge demand at the current time. So I worked on R and a bit of Python. So that's what I learned during that period. It was not something that I knew already. So it was like a continuous process of learning new languages, applying it, and even going beyond to, making maps, doing the illustrations, or working with the GIS data. So that has been the second aspect of it. The third aspect is you have to read a lot. You have to do the literature reviews. I find it quite fun, because it just keeps me more informed, and gives me ideas, because later on that's what I have to really put together and find out a new way. So that's an interesting step. But out of all of it, I think the best part is to analyze your results and to come up with the policy prescriptions. So my particular project is not limited to economics. It's more of an intersectional studies with law and public policy. So I have a colleague who has done the public policy course from Stanford. So that has been great, because I get to collaborate with a lot of people, and they come from diverse backgrounds. They don't come from my same country. They don't come from my same subject. So that is a great exposure, I would say. And overall, I think there are a lot of tools that I was not aware of here with my course or with my prior internship. So I just, developed a new sort of skill set over the time. And that's what happens in research in particular, because you're working on a particular project. You have to gain those skills along the way, that like it's just learning by doing. So like a lot of my juniors, used to be apprehensive that, we don't know anything. How would we even do the research? So that's the thing. You just learn while you do. And trust me, the advisors, the professors over there, they are really sweet and flexible. They will teach you everything. They will support you. They don't pressurize you over things. And the deadlines are also not too hard on yourself. The work-life balance has been great, and because of the pandemic and all the restrictions with traveling, I had to work remotely, and I continue to work remotely, since the project also is based out of India. It's all the child labor issues in India. So that's how it has been going till now.
Great, great. First of all, amazing topic to work on. Okay.
Thank you.
Important part which I could take out of this is, first of all, in being a RA, initially there would be some monotonous work that you will feel like I'm quite bored with it, but that's the initial stage of it. At the end of the day, you're working towards the end goal, and the very first step is very important, considering the entire data was in sheets and documents, and to make it in a digital form, that takes a lot of amount of effort as well. Great work. And secondly, students need to understand the fact that if possible, in their undergrad level, they can start working on certain softwares if possible, rather than just waiting for their master's level or even after that. That will make things easier for them as well while working.
Certainly.
Great. Okay, so what do you think is the scope of jobs in the domain of economics? Like now you also know the market outside India as well,
Yeah.
to a certain extent. So because we have been telling our students, all the students who are from economics domain, that there is a demand of good quality of economists across the globe, and that's an honest fact. And even the students who come from top institutes like DSE, ISI, they are highly regarded outside. Okay, so what according to is the scenario outside? Like, is it a fact?
Outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have experienced this, that they do know about the Delhi School of Economics, because I came from that institute. So I didn't think, but they regarded it as something. So that meant a lot to me, that an Ivy League university also knows about the Delhi School. So that was a big first step. Along with that, I think in the global scenario, be it pursuing your master's from maybe LSE or any other top economics institute, post that I do see that there are a lot of job opportunities for economics students. And if you pursue a PhD, then after that the research roles are tremendous. I have observed the profiles of most of my professors at Delhi School, and I have observed how after their PhD they also took up teaching roles in those universities. So when it comes to research and teaching, definitely across the globe, you have ample opportunities. When it comes to finance and economics, you have all the big multinationals, the big four, everyone, they're hiring the economists. Then you have the international organizations, you have the World Bank, the UN organizations, the ADB, they're all hiring economists as well. So globally, I would say, yes, the demand has been immense. Within India, I would have just observed it over the course of my career. So I feel in the corporate sector there are ample opportunities, but and that's like a major but your master's course has to be quite quantitative in nature.
Absolutely.
So if you pursue, say, a master's from a university or a college, which is just focusing more on the policy aspect and not really equipping you with tools of the quantitative aspect, the jobs remain limited and they're not too remunerative as well. But if you speak of courses by, say, the Delhi School of Economics, the Statistical Institute, or even IGIDR or MSc for that matter, post that, I see the jobs are much better. So a lot of it matters as to how you really want to see your career growth. If you want to get into the corporate sector, and I think this is something that students don't really foresee before taking a master's course, right? They just think, okay, this is a master's course, I will do it and I will get a job. But if you have that thing in your mind that, I want a corporate job, the aim should be to get into institutes like ISI or DSE, because post that the corporate opportunities are much greater. I'm not saying that other institutes don't offer it, but I feel the trajectory and the ease of getting a job is so much better with these institutes. So in the corporate sector, you can see the banking areas or the data analysis areas that you get the job roles. And another thing I noticed was that since my batchmates have started working with various companies now, so a lot of their colleagues who are doing the similar roles are also from engineering and MBA backgrounds, right? So it's not that economists are being given something different. It's all on par of it. So why not, just do a quantitative course and get into this line?
Correct.
After that, I think within India, research is quite limited, and that's a very sad part, because that's something we really need. We need good economists in the public policy area as well. So times are changing, certainly, with the IIMs, the IITs offering various roles and everything. But again, the outlook towards research is also very, like the reaction that I would get from a few of the people, if I'm telling them I'm doing research, so they just think that I'm studying all the time. So that's not how it is. And they don't understand what research really requires. and they would ask me that, how is your work even useful? So that's what you need to change. There's a need for change in outlook. While outside India, I think there's a very positive response when you tell them that, I'm doing research. So that outlook has to change. And with the change in outlook, I think the opportunities would certainly prop up. Thirdly, I would say that not everyone is into the corporate or the research area. They want to do something which is like a middle path of both. So that goes into more of the policy aspect. With that regard, I feel there are immense opportunities in the policy think tanks. Many of them are by the government. Say, NITI Aayog is there, the best example. You have Invest India, you have organizations like the RIS, you have JPAL. So all these organizations are offering excellent roles, and they are very fulfilling. You work with data, you work with policy. So that's a perfect blend for a student who doesn't want to go into pure research and pursue a PhD. At the same time, doesn't want to get into a corporate job. So that is another area. And then there is the government sector, of course, the cumbersome civil services. But I've seen how so many economic students make into excellent civil servants. And then you have the RBI grade B exams. You have the Indian Economic Service, which is exclusively for the students who have done a master's in economics. So I feel the areas are just diverse. One needs to just identify what they really like, where they would fit in, and then accordingly decide their field of future work.
Great, right. And one of the interesting point was the perception towards RA. Mm-hmm. Like the perception is simply that they're going through the books or just papers and all, not working the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
I guess they are doing additional work, the so-called pre-stage of any work as well, which is being done RA along with the main work as well. So that takes a amount of effort and time from. So yeah, rightly mentioned, the perception needs to change. And when it changes from the root level itself, then maybe certain organizations or maybe additional government agencies would be incorporating even more RAs at the, be it at young professional level or be it providing them internship. Great. Okay. So just one last question before we conclude. So nowadays, data science is the new hype, or it's a 21st century job, right? So do you think they are taking over the economist's job, or we as economists don't pay that much of attention towards that profile? Because there is a scenario that students are, from being a data scientist profile, are taking over them.
Yeah. So what I have observed is that if you have a good background, again, with the quantitative aspect, and if you can think critically and logically, coupling that with a sort of coding skill set, really puts you into an advantage in the data sciences field. And it's a big myth that only computer science engineers can do the data scientist job. So my advice is to maybe for the universities to start putting it more programming courses within the curriculum. Like apart from Stata, we could be exposed to more programming languages. Because that really helps you in any of the fields, be it research, be it corporate, or any of it. Because I've seen how even when you take up a corporate job, at the recruitment level, they always have a coding round for you. Even if you don't have a coding background, I've seen that how my friends used to prepare for coding, right? And then when they started doing their job for the first 1 month, they have their training, the entire onboarding process. There again, they are exposed to all these various coding languages, be it Python for some, it is SAS for many others. So I don't think that the jobs are, replacing the role of economists. At the same time, they are providing more opportunities for us, because a lot of students are actually working as data scientists at various companies. So what is important is to change with the times, to upskill yourself so that you can adapt to it, rather than thinking that, oh, maybe data sciences is increasing, so my role is diminishing. The point being to make yourself more equipped with it so that you can take those roles. So yeah, and I think with a data scientist role and having your economic knowledge at the back of yourself would be a great advantage, and it would actually put you forward. So that's how it's going to be.
The last point is spot on, actually. Economist students are at an advantage when they acquire these skill sets to anyone, especially engineering or any profile, economic students are on a definite advantage. That's an honest fact. Okay, and one important point is that we as a student at times take these courses in a sense, like a simple example of MS Excel, right? So until unless we start our job, once we complete, for example, our undergrad, once we go into the corporate world, there we start learning about the advanced version of Excel. Meanwhile, we are in the school or in your undergrad level, we don't pay that much of attention. So that takes your time as well. While you are supposed to work more efficiently, it just diminishes your efficient hours because you're still learning on that. So yeah, student needs to understand the fact that it's very important. You might not excel, but at least start initiating about these.
Yes. And a very positive step on part of the educational field, I would say, like with the new education policy that would be rolled in. So I read how in the 9th grade, there would be a curriculum on artificial intelligence. There would be more computers courses. So I think the future is going to be really better. It's only for the current students in the near 1-2 years gap that we have to face this. And I think for that, many institutions, even I think ArthaPoint, I just came across a post wherein you're doing a course on Python and using it for econometrics, right? So workshops like these are really useful for students out there because it's just an induction course, but it really puts you forward and it makes you realize how it would be useful in future. So the more the students realize that how these courses are important and how they take them up in the present scenario, especially during their study hours, because that's when you're free. So you can, give those hours to these things and upskill themselves. That's how they are going to be at an advantage in future with respect to recruitment or even performing at their present job.
Okay, absolutely. Sampada, again, pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. And again, maybe down the line, we look forward to having you with even more information. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.